As I said, in exactly 1 week and a year from today, Victorians will be preparing to go to the polls to either elect a fourth-term Labor government and put Jacinta Allan in the Premier's office, or they will turn to the Liberal Party. Victorians will take a punt, maybe, on what has been an ineffectual Liberal opposition up until now that just this week elected its third leader in under a year. They've tried just since December. John Pesutto, whose leadership was defined by the Moira Deeming affair. Then they put Brad Batten into the job, the former policeman, prison officer, small businessman, who from the outside seemed to be making ground on the unelected Jacinta Allan and was even ahead in the polls. Why would you dump him? Now, I must say, when Batten appeared, Brad, after losing the leadership to speak to the media, he came from the party room through the door. He seemed to me, I don't know if you agree, he seemed to me to be a relieved man, someone with a great weight taken from his shoulders.
I stand continuously proud in the role that I've done and the things that I've done for the community. The Victorian Liberal Party now has a very clear path to go towards the next election.
At his face, he's happy, and seriously, who would really want that job anyway? Well, it seems 35-year-old Liberal moderate Jess Wilson wanted it more than anyone else. Here she is.
As leader, I have a clear focus. I have clear priorities. 1, to get the budget back into control so we can invest in things that matter. 2, to end the crime crisis. 3, to make sure that Victorians can get access to the healthcare that they need and deserve. And 4, to give every Victorian the best opportunity to own their own home in this state.
Confident, young, female, smart and not afraid, it seems, to take on Jacinta Allan, who just happens to be the longest-serving female minister of any government, any party in Victorian history. And the Premier, who inherited her job from the despised Daniel Andrews, well, I don't like him very much, and I don't think a lot of Victorians do either, after we suffered the world's longest COVID lockdowns in a crazy move we haven't recovered from. Well, the Premier was immediately on the front foot, first up offering a handshake across the dispatch box to Jess Wilson. Something I think, and it's a small thing probably, that Jess Wilson should have batted away and refused to shake her hand. And then she made a joke about the latest Liberal leader.
Thank you, Speaker, and I thank the latest leader of the Liberal Party for her question today. And I thank her for her question, which is focused on the government's fiscal strategy. That, I say, Speaker, is working.
I'll get John Ferguson's view in a moment from the Australian in a sec. So we have a year until election day. Jacinta Allan and her cohort of nodding ministers in the background wearing high-vis vests and hard hats every day will, and this has all been cynically timed, I believe, they will open the newly constructed, late and way over budget Westgate Tunnel in an attempt to relieve traffic jams in the packed western suburbs of Melbourne. Now, if you make that daily grind over the Westgate Bridge currently, now you'll be happy, I guess, about that. But there are tolls on some of the parts of that new tunnel, which might end up forcing commuters just to go back onto the existing bridge, fixing nothing. Now, once that's up and running, again, over budget and late, the Metro Tunnel will open. Shiny new stations under Flinders and Burke Streets in the North Melbourne Medical Precinct and, for some unknown reason, at the Shrine of Remembrance. Now, I'm yet to find someone who actually knows how this Metro Tunnel will help them. Then, of course, we have the Suburban Rail Loop, the most expensive infrastructure project in Australia, that suddenly the Prime Minister, Anthony Albanese, he likes it so much now, he has committed to more funding in next year's March budget out of your pocket. How much? Well, he won't tell us. He was in Melbourne with the Premier this week. Here he is.
Yes, we have, and there will be additional funding in the budget next year for Suburban Rail Loop. On top of the $9.2 billion we've already submitted, my government knows where Victoria is, unlike the 3 previous Prime Ministers from New South Wales who didn't seem to know that it was possible for the national government to cross the Murray.
How do you feel about tipping that amount of money into a project in Melbourne, which in the first stage goes from Cheltenham to Box Hill, where no one wants to travel, and you're a taxpayer living in Adelaide or Sydney or Brisbane or, you know, anywhere outside of Melbourne, in fact, Ballarat or Bendigo. I mean, it's huge money. They've already put in $9 billion, and he won't now tell us how much he'll put in March. Now, you can bet it'll be a lot of money because he's determined to get Jacinta Allan elected. Now, the stage is set. The coalition could win next November, but they have to realise, and I'm sure they do, what they are up against. Victorian Labor is the slickest political outfit in Australia. They are backed by the CFMEU that use these big build projects as a golden ticket for decades to come. They just keep getting paid wages. Labor has stacked the public service with fellow travellers, stacked the institutions like the courts, and allowed the public service to balloon in huge numbers. They have the backing of Canberra, who will now, throw Australian taxpayers' money at Victoria to keep Labor in office, as I said. Now, right now, I think they get back, Labor that is, and Jacinta Allan, with a reduced majority. And with fixed terms, that will mean 16 years of uninterrupted Labor rule in this state. If there is not already a rush to move interstate from Victoria, especially crime-ridden Melbourne, then if Labor wins that election, you will open the floodgates.